Ford told you the timing belt in your Fiesta lasts 150,000 miles. It doesn't. It starts failing around 60,000. The catastrophic repair when it goes? Up to £6,000. The preventative replacement that stops it? £1,250. Peugeot told you the belt in your 208 lasts 112,000 miles. Owners discovered the real interval when the brake pedal went rock hard on the motorway. Not the engine warning light, not the service indicator. The brake pedal. Volkswagen told you your DSG is sealed for life. It isn't. The lifetime they're referring to is the warranty period. After that, it's your problem. There's a pattern here. 5 components, 5 deliberately extended or ignored service intervals, all of them justified to fleet buyers and leasing companies to lower the advertised cost of ownership during the first 3 to 5 years, all of them transferred to you, the used car buyer, as a ticking financial liability. We're going through each one, what fails, why it fails, exactly when it fails, and what it costs you if you miss it. If you've bought a used car in the last 10 years, at least one of these applies to you. Hit subscribe and ring the bell, because this channel exists to tell you what the service schedule deliberately leaves out. Now, let's start with the one that's destroyed more engines in the UK than any other single component in the last decade. The Ford 1.0 EcoBoost won International Engine of the Year multiple times. The awards were real, the service interval Ford published alongside it was not. The Fox engine, that's the internal designation, uses what's called a belt-in-oil timing system. Rather than a traditional dry timing belt running outside the engine block, the EcoBoost belt is fully submerged in the engine's own oil. Ford's stated reason? Hydrodynamic lubrication, reduced friction, better efficiency. All true, in theory, in a laboratory. In the real world, particularly in the UK where millions of these cars make short urban journeys that never fully warm the engine, a different process happens. During cold starts, unburnt fuel bypasses the piston rings and dilutes the engine oil. Thermal cycling and carbon accumulation turn that oil into a mildly acidic, abrasive solvent, and the timing belt sits in it, continuously, chemically being attacked. The PTFE coating on the belt degrades first, then the underlying rubber compound swells and softens. The belt begins shedding. Microscopic elastomeric fibers, then larger rubber fragments, fall directly into the oil pan. They get drawn into the oil pump's intake. The pickup pipe has a fine mesh strainer. That mesh blankets under the debris. Oil pressure collapses. The turbocharger bearing seizes first. It's the component most reliant on pressurized oil film. Then the camshaft journals. Then the crankshaft bearings, and because the 1.0 EcoBoost is an interference engine, meaning the pistons and valves share the same physical space, separated only by timing, when the degraded belt finally snaps, the pistons travel upward and collide with the open valves at several thousand revolutions per minute. Shattered pistons, bent valve stems, destroyed cylinder head. Ford's official handbook? Replace at 10 years or 150,000 miles. Independent UK specialists? Replace at 5 years or 50,000 miles. 8 years or 80,000 miles as an absolute maximum. UK owner forums, Pistonheads, Ford Owners Club document the highest frequency of catastrophic failure between 60,000 and 100,000 miles, well before Ford's suggested intervention point. The affected models are the Ford Fiesta 2012 to 2017, Focus 2012 to 2017, B-Max, C-Max, EcoSport. Engine codes SFJA, SFJB, M1DA, and over 20 related Fox family codes. Over 1 million wet belt EcoBoost models are currently registered in the UK. The Ford Fiesta remained the UK's best-selling used car in both 2023 and 2024, with over 303,000 transactions recorded by the SMMT. Most of these buyers were handed a service history with no timing belt entry because the handbook says it doesn't need one yet. Preventative replacement at the correct interval, £1,250 to £1,400. That includes the oil pump belt, water pump, and sump cleanout, because the sump needs flushing of any rubber debris already present. Emergency repair after catastrophic failure, £2,500 to £3,900 for cylinder head rebuild and valve replacement. Complete engine replacement if the block is scored, £4,000 to £6,000. There is no blanket DVSA recall for the manual transmission 1.0 EcoBoost timing belt in the UK. Ford did issue a recall, reference 23S64, covering the oil pump drive belt and tensioner on the 1.0 EcoBoost engines with the 6-speed automatic transmissions. If that belt fails, the engine loses oil pressure immediately, typically causing engine seizure before the main timing belt even gets the chance to snap. That recall exists. The chemical degradation of the main timing belt, which affects every wet belt EcoBoost regardless of transmission, does not. In 2018, Ford redesigned the 1.0 EcoBoost for the Focus Mark IV, switching to a timing chain for the camshafts. The newer M hybrid electric variant from 2019 onwards uses a split sump design with a significantly shorter belt and revised tensioner, showing meaningfully better real-world reliability than the original Fox design. But the oil pump wet belt remains. The fundamental architecture was not eliminated, it was improved. The original Fox engine cars, the Fiesta, Focus, B-Max, C-Max built before 2018, carry the full risk. The preventative replacement cost on a used Fiesta often represents over 20% of the car's total value. That single maintenance item, necessitated by a flawed design that won awards, can cost more than the owner paid for the vehicle. The Ford EcoBoost and the PSA PureTech between them power the majority of small UK petrol cars sold between 2012 and 2022. Both use wet timing belts. Both published intervals that independent engineers describe as scientifically unsound for real-world UK driving conditions. Both manufacturers moved away from the design on newer models without formally acknowledging the problem with the existing ones. The combined UK fleet of affected vehicles runs into the millions. If the EcoBoost story is about engines destroying themselves, the PureTech story is worse. Because in the PureTech, the timing belt failure doesn't just destroy the engine, it can take the brakes with it. The PSA EB2 engine, the 1.2 PureTech, powers a vast proportion of the UK's small car fleet. Peugeot 208, 308, 2008, 3008, Citroën C3, C4, C4 Cactus, Berlingo, Vauxhall Corsa, Mocha, Crossland, DS3, DS4. The same engine, the same architecture, the same wet belt across the entire Stellantis portfolio. The degradation mechanism is identical to the EcoBoost. Short journeys, cold starts, fuel dilution, chemical attack on the rubber compound, belt fragmentation, debris in the oil system. But in the EB2 engine, the mechanical vacuum pump, which provides the vacuum pressure for the brake servo assist, is driven off the camshaft and lubricated by the main engine oil circuit. The rubber debris from the disintegrating timing belt clogs the main oil pump pickup strainer in the sump. Engine oil pressure drops globally. The vacuum pump, driven off the camshaft and dependent on pressurized oil for lubrication, is starved. It seizes, it stops generating vacuum, the brake servo loses assistance. The brake pedal goes rigid, no warning light, no gradual fail. Rigid, requiring enormous physical force to slow the engine. Stopping distances multiply. On a roundabout, on a hill, on a motorway exit. The moment it happens, you are managing a vehicle with no power braking and no warning that anything has changed. PSA's original published interval, 10 years or 112,000 miles, following the volume of failures and the brake incidents, they quietly revised it to 6 years or 62,000 miles. Independent UK specialists recommend 5 years or 50,000 miles, and mandate annual oil changes at 10,000 miles specifically to flush fuel dilution, plus a physical belt inspection through the oil filter cap using a go-no-go gauge. The legal response in France, where Peugeot and Citroën sell the majority of their European volume, has been significant. A class action lawsuit was launched by the MyLeo platform, led by consumer protection attorneys Maître Christophe Legvac and Maître Jeremy Bousquet, accusing the manufacturer of deceptive commercial practices and endangering consumer lives. The French Directorate General for Competition Policy, Consumer Affairs and Fraud Control, the DGCCRF, issued injunctions threatening fines of up to 120 million euros. UFC Que Choisir, France's largest consumer group, is actively gathering evidence. Stellantis issued 2 recalls, November 2020 for 2013 to 2017 models, December 2022 for post-2017 models, and in 2024 established an extended warranty covering the engine for 10 years or 175,000 kilometers, precisely 108,740 miles by Stellantis' own conversion. The coverage is conditional. It requires proof of unbroken manufacturer schedule servicing, performed at an authorized dealer, using the exact specified oil. If you serviced it at an independent garage, or if you're a used car buyer with an incomplete stamp history, Stellantis will reject the claim. Preventative replacement, £589 to £619 as a fixed price dealer repair. That requires sump removal to clean the pickup. Catastrophic rebuild when the belt fails, £3,000 to £6,000. Let's be direct about what happened with the PureTech. Stellantis published a 112,000-mile interval for a belt they knew, from field data, was failing at a fraction of that distance. They revised the interval quietly. They issued recalls only after government intervention in France. They structured the extended warranty to exclude the majority of used car owners most likely to be affected. And in the UK, Where no equivalent of the DG-CCRF exists with comparable enforcement power, owners were left to discover the interval was wrong when the brake pedal went hard. That is not a service schedule error, that is a calculated commercial decision. We covered the DQ200 and DQ250 in detail recently, so this is the interval context that sits alongside that. Volkswagen's official position on the DQ200 7-speed dry-clutch DSG, sealed for life. No service interval specified. The engineering reality? The mechatronic unit on the DQ200 has its own independent hydraulic fluid circuit, 1 litre of specialist fluid, completely separate from the 1.7 litres of gear oil. That fluid undergoes continuous thermal cycling under the bonnet. It degrades. The hydraulic pump works harder to compensate. The aluminium accumulator housing, which holds that fluid up to 60 bar of pressure, fatigue cracks. Drivers lost. The fault codes are P17BF and 06079. The repair is a mechatronic replacement. Sealed for life refers to the warranty period. After that, the failure is yours to pay for. Independent UK specialists drain and refill the DQ200 mechatronic fluid as a preventative service. Cost £100 to £150. Complete mechatronic unit replacement when the housing cracks, £800 to £1,500 at an independent specialist, over £2,000 at a main dealer. And the dealer will frequently refuse to perform a preventative fluid service at all, because the handbook says that there isn't one. The DQ250 wet clutch DSG has a published interval of 40,000 miles. That figure is broadly correct for normal driving. In heavy urban traffic, towing, or any modified vehicle, specialists recommend 30,000 miles. The clutch friction material sheds continuously into the fluid. That contaminated slurry circulates through the mechatronic solenoid valves, machined to micron-level tolerances, and erodes them irreparably. A DQ250 fluid and filter service at an independent specialist, £195 to £300. At a VW main dealer, over £400. The combined fleet of DQ200 and DQ250 vehicles in the UK represents millions of cars. The combined repair bill for owners who believed sealed for life is documented in independent garage invoices across the country. This one should make you genuinely angry. Not because the fix is complicated, because the fix costs £80. Brake fluid is hygroscopic. It absorbs atmospheric moisture through the permeable rubber of the brake hoses and the microscopic gaps in caliper seals. This happens regardless of mileage. It happens whether the car is driven 50,000 miles a year or 5,000. It happens osmotically, continuously, from the day the fluid is installed. Fresh DOT4 brake fluid has a dry boiling point of 230 degrees Celsius. After approximately 2 years of service, the fluid has naturally absorbed around 3.7% water by volume. Its boiling point drops to 155 degrees Celsius. At 8% water absorption, it approaches 100 degrees, the boiling point of water itself. When a driver brakes hard, descending a steep hill, towing a caravan, an emergency stop from motorway speed, the heat generated by the pads against the rotors transfers directly into the caliper and the fluid inside it. If that fluid has been in the car for 3 years, it boils. Steam forms inside the brake line. Steam is a gas. Gases are compressible. The driver depresses the brake pedal and compresses the gas bubble instead of clamping the pads against the rotor. The pedal travels to the floor. Nothing happens. This is vapor lock. It has no warning light. The first indication is a pedal that doesn't work. The UK industry standard, supported by the RAC in which, is simple. Replace brake fluid every 2 years regardless of mileage. BMW's condition-based servicing pushes the first change to 3 years. Volvo's VW dealer software categorizes it as a timed item, appearing every 24 months, separate from the primary maintenance items, meaning it's routinely missed unless the technician actively looks for it. This is done to lower the advertised service cost for fleet buyers. The consequence is your problem on a descending B road. Comprehensive brake fluid flush at an independent UK garage, £80 to £100. Add the real numbers together. EcoBoost preventative belt change, £1,250. PureTech preventative belt change, £600. DSG fluid service, DQ250, £250. DQ200 mechatronic fluid, £130. Brake fluid, £90. DPF compatible oil upcharge over cheap bulk oil, approximately £20 per service. Total cost of doing every one of these correctly on schedule, roughly £2,300 over the life of the car. Total cost of doing none of them, potentially £15,000. One EcoBoost engine replacement plus one mechatronic rebuild plus one DPF replacement covers it. Those aren't worst case scenarios. They are documented routine repair bills appearing in UK independent garages every week on cars that were serviced according to the manufacturer's schedule. The diesel particulate filter does one job. It catches the soot particles produced by diesel combustion. When it fills with soot, the ECU runs an active regeneration. It burns the soot off by raising exhaust temperatures above 600 degrees Celsius. The soot burns, the filter clears, the system works. That system only works on soot. It cannot work on ash. Ash is the incombustible metallic residue left when engine oil burns during normal combustion. All engines consume microscopic quantities of oil. In a diesel with a DPF, that oil must be low SAPs, low sulfated ash, phosphorus, and sulfur. The ACEA C-Class specifications, C2, C3, C5, C6, are not interchangeable. C2 is formulated for low friction fuel economy. C3 is for higher engine protection. Using C2 in an engine that specifies C3 causes premature engine wear. The spec on the bottle matters. Exact manufacturer approvals matter. Ford's WSS M2C952A1, PSA's FPW9.55535/03, VW's 504.00/507.00. These aren't marketing categories. They're chemical specifications that directly determine whether the residue from burning that oil can be regenerated out of the DPF or stays there permanently. High SAPS oil, cheaper ACEA A and B specifications. The bulk 5W30 that fills the shelves at fast fit chains relies on zinc, calcium, and magnesium additives for lubrication. Those additives burn in the cylinder, travel down the exhaust, and deposit directly into the microscopic pores of the DPF substrate. They become ash. Ash cannot be burned away at any temperature. It permanently occupies physical space in the filter. Once ash loading exceeds the filter's threshold, typically 30 to 40 grams, the DPF is irreversibly blocked. Exhaust back pressure climbs, active regeneration fails, the vehicle enters severe limp mode. The excessive pressure frequently destroys the turbocharger oil seals as a secondary consequence. The Warranty Solutions Group's 2024 to 2025 Reliability Index identifies DPF failures as the single costliest common fault in the UK used car market, averaging £1,393 per claim. The data also documents that a significant portion of these failures follow servicing at high-volume fast-fit chains where the correct low-SAP specification oil was not used. A forced regeneration for a soot-block DPF, £150 to £350. An off-car ultrasonic clean for a partially ash-loaded filter, £180 to £400. Complete DPF replacement when ash loading is total, £1,000 to £3,500 plus VAT. The difference in cost between correct low SAPS oil and the bulk alternative, approximately £20 on the oil. A forced regeneration when the DPF blocks with soot, £250 to £500 in labour. A complete DPF replacement when ash loading makes it unrecoverable, £1,000 to £3,500. The fast fit chain saved 20 quid. He replaced a £2,000 filter. None of these failures are accidents. The Ford EcoBoost interval of 150,000 miles wasn't derived from engineering data. It was derived from fleet sales marketing. The PureTech brake incident didn't happen because nobody knew the belt degraded. They revised the interval when litigation started. The DSG sealed for life designation isn't a material science achievement. It's an accounting term that expires with the warranty. The used car buyer inherits every deferred maintenance decision the manufacturer made to hit a lower cost of ownership figure in the brochure. The components on this list are not exotic. They're in millions of mainstream UK cars. The correct intervals are not complicated, and the combined cost of doing every single one of them properly on schedule is a fraction of what one catastrophic failure costs. Check your Fiesta or Focus for a wet belt service record. Check your 208 or Corsa for a PureTech belt entry. Check your DSG car for a fluid history. Check the date on your brake fluid, not the mileage, the date. And if you're buying used, add every one of these to your pre-purchase checklist before you sign anything. Which of these caught you off guard? Was your car on this list? Drop it in the comments, because every owner who finds this video before the failure instead of after is a win.